Hello, my ghosts and ghoulies, and welcome back to another spooky episode of Hito's Haunted House. Combining horror and comedy is quite the challenge, but combining horror and cute things, now that is a whole different set of challenges. That is unless you're Spooky's House of Jumpscares, then you have that shit on lockdown. Spooky's House of Jumpscares is an indie horror game developed by Lag Studios, and I think it's very important to note that Lag Studios only has two members, Akuma Kira and Psychobilly2422. This game was released completely free in July of 2015, and it has been one of the most delightfully scary and adorable experiences I've ever had. So with that being said, let's delve into Spooky's Manor and see what all it really has to offer. Welcome to Spooky Manor, a place that no one really knows what it is or what's going on in there. So, being the player, you decide to check it out. Luckily for you, you are greeted by the owner, an adorable little ghost named Spooky. She poses the challenge to you of exploring 1,000 rooms in the manor, and then just floats into the ceiling. And that's literally what you do in the game. You go into rooms and keep advancing through the house, trying to get through 1,000 rooms. That is the unfortunate thing about this game, is that it's rather repetitive, simply going in and out of a randomly generated room. However, the atmosphere in this game is rather outstanding. The art style is a very simplistic, pixelated style, but the rather bleak imagery, along with the lighting and the impressive soundtrack, it sets the mood beautifully for the player, building up the right amount of tension just before Wait, did I just get jump scared by an adorable little cardboard cutout making an adorable sound? This is silly, but it does live up to the name of House of Jumpscares. But that's not all just a joke. It's actually a very smart and very satirical way to approach jump scares. As somebody once said, you could think of the jump scare as the fast food of horror. They're fast, they're cheap, and they're really easy to pull off. Just make something scary pop out and make a loud noise to trigger that fight or flight response. Which is exactly why I hate jump scares, because they literally serve no purpose. They aren't actually scary because all they do is make you feel like shit afterwards. And not to mention, you can literally make a jump scare whatever you want it to be. It can actually be a monster. It can be a friend.
It's just me.
It can be a dog. It can even be Pop-Tarts. But in this case, it's something adorable, and even the loud, sudden noise it's making is something cute and charming. But the fact that it's so sudden and loud, it's what makes it a scare, which even heightens that embarrassing feeling when you're scared by a jump scare, because in this case, it's something absolutely adorable. And don't you feel so silly by being scared by it? It's genius! That's not the only genius part of this game. After reaching a certain number of floors, you'll reach a new part of the mansion. These areas are dramatically different from the rest of the mansion and actually do resemble other horror games. We have Resident Evil, Silent Hill, SCP, Clock Tower, and Fatal Frame, for example. And what's the purpose of these rooms? Well, to introduce you to the antagonists, of course. Each of these special rooms introduce a new monster, or a new specimen, if you will, that will hunt you down and kill you, and you must run away. Each specimen has different rules or different tactics when it comes to killing you, either if it's how they move or different ways to disorientate you as you're trying to make your escape. What I find truly amazing about these guys is really just how terrifying they are, and how well the atmosphere and story builds up before actually seeing the specimen. This is where the game really shines, because it's not a jump scare at this point. They use everything in their power, and keep in mind how simplistic this really is, just to build up so much atmosphere, story, and tension before finally seeing the monster. And that's where the scare really is, and it's infinitely more scary than any jump scare any game or movie has to offer. Not to mention the great use of misdirection the game has. Between your first encounter with the adorable Spooky and your first pop-out, you mentally tell yourself that this game is just a silly little adorable game. But deep inside the mansion lies horrible, terrifying creatures that will do everything in their power to take your soul. But that doesn't mean that every game is not without its faults. As I mentioned before, the game is terribly repetitive. You just go from room to room, hallway to hallway, with the only difference being every 100 rooms or so. There's only a set number of rooms that will randomly appear, and once you've seen them all, it's all just a mad dash through the rooms to find the closest door. But when the specimens start chasing you randomly throughout your descent into madness, it may be quite shocking and quite exciting the first or second time. But after a while, it just becomes a minor nuisance as you try to get to the next and new exciting specimen. Which is really where this game shines, at least for me personally. Each encounter left me more and more excited for the next one, curious and wondering what they can do to top themselves in this spookfest. This by all means does not make this a bad game. I personally feel that Spooky's House of Jumpscares is one of the best made, intriguing, and scariest indie horror games to be released in a long time. It's completely filled with anticipation and surprises, with each room being filled with dread and excitement. And the best part about it, it's completely free! So go get Spooky's House of Jumpscares. It is gonna be a horrifying experience that will leave you chilled to the bone, yet delighted at the same time.